right. Welcome into the second episode of the NFL Seekers podcast. I'm your co-host, Danny, with Josh. Today we're going to be going over our offensive NFL prospects for the draft. We'll be talking about our my guys first, our not my guys, and then our position rankings for every offensive position. So how are you today, Josh? Let's get into it.
Doing good. I'm ready to get into this.
Sweet.
All right. So I'm going first, right, with my guy.
Yeah, you're going to start us off with your my guy. We each chose one.
It's gonna, not a very low key guy. Probably the best prospect in the draft. My guy's gonna be Bijan Robinson.
Oh
And
wow, he's your my guy.
I don't think this guy can fail. I think he has proven everything in college. I mean, he's the blue chip of blue chip prospects. I mean, we've heard about this guy forever. I mean, size, speed. I mean, he's not just and the coolest thing about him is he's not just a running back. His pass protection, flawless. You can line him up at receiver. I mean, he was a starting slot receiver for Texas. They'd line him out there, dude. He was fun to watch. Great hands. He's got all the. I mean, there's another guy who's a top running back on my list, but when you watch the tape of those two playing each other, you can just tell he's special. Bijan's just on a different level.
Yeah, he's in a league of his own for sure.
And he reminds me of one of my all-time favorites, LaDainian Tomlinson.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he kind of all the tools, size, tools, speed. I mean, you name it, he's got it.
It's honestly a perfect NFL player comparison is LaDainian Tomlinson. It sounds crazy, but he's the closest thing to him since. So,
and I think he's the safest prospect in this draft.
mm-hmm.
So I mean, he is my guy. I'm most excited to see where he goes because I think he'll succeed on any NFL team. I think you plug him into any system, and the running back by committee is such a popular thing lately, but you don't need a running back by committee with him. He's just you want to give him the ball. You want the ball in his hands. You want to line him out in the slot. He's just gonna be, he's gonna be the LaDainian Tomlinson 2.0.
Yep. Where does he rank on your overall big board in the draft?
You're the
And
one.
where would you take him? Where would you feel comfortable taking him?
Wait, I would feel comfortable taking him in the draft or what rank of prospect is he?
Yeah, so if you were drafting, where would you feel comfortable drafting him? And where does he rank on your overall draft board?
I mean, I feel like positional value really doesn't apply to this guy because he's just an offensive weapon. Because he's a running back, I think the 10 to 20 range is where he should go. But he is my number one prospect in this draft. I think he is the best player. I think he's the safest player. He's my number one player, but I feel comfortable taking him between. Just because, positional value does kind of come into effect, but I don't think he's just a running back. But I'd feel comfortable taking him between 10 and 20.
Okay. Yeah. So anywhere between 10 and where the Eagles pick.
Yeah, I think the Eagles are going to be his the ceiling where he can go, and then I don't think he gets past. I think 21 with the Chargers. I think that's where that's his floor.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Now who's your guy?
But yeah, I mean, you can't say too much about Bijan Robinson. He's the best running back we've ever seen come out. He's gonna be great wherever he goes. Doesn't matter.
Oh, he's awesome.
My guy though he's my absolute guy in this whole draft class. I don't think I've ever liked a prospect as much, honestly, ever before. It's Dalton Kincaid out of Utah, a tight end. He gets everything done. He's got the best hands in the draft. He's definitely the best receiving tight end. He's got huge hands. He's a big guy. He's not as big as Mayer, but he's got bigger hands, longer arms. I don't get what people see when they put Mayer over him or Washington over him. That's just crazy to me. Kincaid is one of the best tight ends I've watched in the last decade. He's crazy good, and I like Mayer. Nothing against Mayer, but Kincaid is just he gives me shades of Travis Kelce, the way he operates against zone, the way he just tracks the ball. He literally comes down with any ball. You're always just asking yourself, how is this guy just getting a first down after first down every other play? He's just
it's like in the Super Bowl when Travis Kelce, you're watching him, you're like, how does this guy always get open?
Exactly.
He just kind of got that. It's like a little shimmy shake. It's it's nothing he's not the fastest guy. he's not maybe the biggest or the tallest guy, but he just has a knack for getting open. You watch him
Yep.
against that USC game,
Oh,
he had like 20 catches for 300 yards and 2 touchdowns. No one could cover the guy. He
mhm.
just, it's weird. It's kind of like you can't really put a name to what it is, but it's just like the agility to just find. I mean, he's just in the right spot at the right time. And it's just like this. You watch him and Travis Kelsey, and they look very similar when they're running their routes. And it's just like
Yeah.
they have this little shimmy shake to them, and it's just they're always open. No one
Yeah,
can
they
guard
move the same. He literally has like a Travis Kelsey aura. Like just when you watch him, you can just get reminded of Travis Kelsey because they just move the same. They look similar. They
And
yeah.
he probably won't be. I mean, Travis Kelsey's like bona fide Hall of Famer.
No, that's a crazy
He just,
comparison, but
yeah,
just
he
the
just
way they
has
move, the
that.
way they play, the way
Mhm.
that I think he's going to be really productive in the NFL. So
Oh,
yeah.
100%. Yeah, it's just that knack of getting open, which is like
Mhm.
the biggest thing ever. You can't
Yeah.
cover it. So I like that. I like that.
Yeah. Let's hear you're not my guy.
So not my guy is going to be Hendon Hooker.
Okay.
Teams have fallen in love with him. I do think he will end up going in the first round, but I mean, he's 20. Was he 24, 25 coming off an ACL injury? Tennessee kind of ran a little bit of a gimmicky offense.
Oh yeah.
You know, it was it's not a true NFL offense. They weren't running anything like that. And I don't know. It was just a very gimmicky offense. He's he's older than Jalen Hurts right now, so I
Right.
don't feel like there's much upside for him. I mean, this was his only true good year, and yes, it was actually really good, but I don't know. I just kind of see him being a career backup and kind of an injury prone guy, you know.
Mhm.
But I mean, I think he's got great locker room skills. What I've heard,
Yeah.
he interviews well, and
Very
I
good
think I
interviewer.
think he's
Yeah.
going to be a good number two on a team. I just don't think he's a starter.
Yeah, I'm definitely lower on him. I hear people comparing him to Kirk Cousins, and it's like, if I'm going to draft him at 26, I'll just take Kirk Cousins. I'll just go pay for Kirk Cousins. He's only 8 years older. I mean, I don't know what really the upside is there. He's a good player. Probably could play right now, like a Desmond Ritter type player, but yeah,
Yeah,
I
and
don't know. I don't think
I
I'm
think you
taking
know what
him.
you're getting out of him. I almost feel
Exactly.
like I kind of compare him to like a Teddy Bridgewater. You
Yeah.
know, that's kind of I feel like who he is Teddy Bridgewater. So I don't
Yeah.
love Teddy Bridgewater. Yeah, I feel like yes, you can play him. He could be a game manager, but I think he's a career backup. So he's not my guy.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. You think he's still going to go first round for sure?
I think a team, from what I've heard and all the interviews and all the other podcasts I've been watching, is he interviews really well. Teams like Minnesota, Raiders, a lot of teams could, I think, maybe trade up for him.
Mhm.
Um, I think he'll be maybe late first round, early second round, but I could see him still going in the first round.
Okay. Yeah, we had it in our mock. Oh yeah, and if you haven't, go check out our mock. Our first podcast episode was actually a really good mock draft, one of the best I've seen. So go check that out if you haven't.
Sure.
But my not my guy is also going to be quarterback. Tanner McKee out of Stanford. I don't like the guy at all. He's just like something about him. He just is a little bit goofy. He's never impressed me watching him play. I feel like he's just really stiff. Um, People compare him to Davis Mills, and if I mean that's what you
Yeah,
want,
yeah, that's a good
then
comparison.
good. If
I
you
feel like
want
you know what you're getting. I feel like
Davis
both
Mills,
of these guys, they're I feel like we've seen their ceilings already.
yeah,
I feel like we've seen their ceilings, and I feel like they have really low floors. And I feel like Tanner McKee, like again, like Hendon Hooker, probably end up will be in a career backup.
yeah. I mean, I still have him as like my quarterback 8. He can still pass in the pocket, which is nice. He's a better pocket passer than some of these other guys, but yeah, he's just something about him just doesn't do it for me. I feel like he's gonna get
All the
overdrafted.
traits. He just doesn't. I mean, there's nothing that stands out about him.
Nothing excites me. None of his traits excite me. Yeah. Tanner
Yeah,
McKee, I'd stay away from for sure. He'll get overdrafted.
oh
He's never
yeah,
have any crazy impact, in my opinion.
I agree. I agree. All right. Well, with that, should we get into our top five quarterbacks? So we're gonna start off quarterback, running back, um, wide receiver, tight end, lineman. We're gonna go through pretty quick.
Yeah, we're
Um,
just gonna kind of go over our top five, go over them pretty quickly, but
we'll do a little breakdowns on each of them, but yeah, we're gonna go pretty quick on these because we got a lot of prospects to get over.
yep. And we're just doing all offense today for the second episode. Next episode will be defense, so stay tuned for that. Um, but yeah, I'll go over my top five quarterbacks first. Coming in at number five is actually Hendon Hooker. I do have him really close with like Jay Kaner or McKee or O'Connell or Jaron Hall. I have all those guys really close. I don't love Hooker, but like we were talking about earlier, he can play now. He can be decent. He looked good this year before he got hurt. So I do
Yeah.
have him as my fifth quarterback still over Hayner. And then at four, I do have Will Levis. Although I'll say it's a lot closer to Anthony Richardson than a lot of other people have him. I think they're neck and neck. I would take Levis for certain situations, like the Colts, probably over Richardson. I like him a lot. I feel like he's being slept on at this point. He's a really good quarterback. I feel like his floor is higher than people talk about at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he'll be really good, especially if he's on the Colts. I think he'd be good. And then I have Anthony Richardson at three. I'm not crazy. I'm not going to put him at two, but he is just a freak. His tools are crazy. Him and Levis are really close. They're similar prospects, but I do have Richardson at three just because he's a freak. He's one of the craziest quarterbacks we've seen.
He's tested better than anyone we've ever seen.
Yeah, you
He
can't
is like, I
not
mean,
put him in.
ran low four, what was it, 4.4, 40-inch vertical. I mean, all the tools are just insane.
He's crazy. You can't not put him there. But I do have CJ Stroud at two. I'm not that crazy to put him at one. Um, I think there's
You're gonna
actually
like my board.
I think there's a drop off after one, to be honest. I like CJ Stroud a lot too. He impressed me this year. The game against Georgia was perfect. I mean, the bowl game was literally one of the most perfect games I've seen out of a quarterback. He was perfect. I like him a lot still, but Bryce Young, my quarterback one. He's always been the best quarterback in this draft. I don't get why so many people are overthinking it, but it's Bryce Young. So
We
good.
got a little bit
Shades
different,
of
a
Trevor
little bit
Lawrence,
different
shades of
quarterback.
Russell Wilson, shades of Joe Burrow. Every time I watch him, he's a freak. He's gonna be good. I promise you that.
Yeah. All right. And if you want, you can put mine. So we have the graphic up on if you guys are gonna be watching this on
Yeah,
YouTube.
and on YouTube you'll be able to see the graphic of our rankings. But
Yeah.
yep, now we're on
I
to
don't know.
drop quarterbacks.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to do me underneath or the side, whatever's easier for you.
I'll just put it on the side.
Okay. Cool. Well, I'll start out with my whenever you're ready. You want me to go right
No, you're
now?
good. Just go whenever. Just go.
Yeah. So my number five is going to be Jake Hayner. You know, he's not nothing impressive about him. You know, he's not super big. He's not super fast. But I did like what he came out and did at the Senior Bowl. He got MVP there. He
Yeah.
showed up, did everything he needed to do. He's the most accurate quarterback there. He's the most poised quarterback there. I think he kind of reminds me. I think situation. I think he could eventually be an NFL starter in the right situation, like a team like San Francisco or something. I think he's every bit as good as a Brock Purdy or Jimmy Garoppolo coming out of college. Um, that's just kind of where I see him. He's kind of more of a game manager type of style of quarterback. He's not going to do anything that woes you, but he's going to go out there. He's going to make a few mistakes. He's pretty accurate with the football, but you're not going to get anything fantastic out of him. And then my number four is going to be Anthony Richardson.
Oh wow.
I know, and it's not that I'm super low on him, um, but I just think he needs time to develop a lot. I think he's got all the tools to be a great quarterback, but I think there's a lot of developing to come out of him.
Yeah.
And then my number three is actually going to be Will Levis. I
Okay.
watched his tape, and he's not Josh Allen, but he has a lot of similar traits of Josh Allen. I mean, you see him
Okay.
hurdle a dude. He's got a huge, strong arm. I mean, he makes dumb mistakes, and this is what Josh Allen did. I mean, that's why Josh Allen wasn't the first quarterback taken in his draft class
Mhm.
because he wasn't flawless coming out. He played those not that Kentucky's a small school, but for the
Yeah.
SEC, it's one of their smaller schools. Josh Allen played at
Yeah.
Wyoming.
Oh,
Uh,
his surrounding situation was so bad. He had Rich Scangarello as his offensive coordinator. His line was the worst. His no
yeah,
weapon. It was
yeah,
the worst situation.
yeah. His situation was awful, but I think he probably has the most upside in this draft. Honestly, in my opinion, with his size, his strength, and he's a good runner. He can take off and he can
Yeah.
run. He does impressive stuff. So that's why he's at number three for me. And then number two, I'm gonna be opposite of you. I got Bryce Young at number two. I've been watching a lot of CJ Stroud, and my gut instinct is telling me that he's gonna be the best quarterback. Maybe
That's
he's
crazy.
not the I don't I think Bryce Young has the best tools, and I think he had probably the most impressive college career. I mean, he won the Heisman, but there's something about CJ Stroud, his poise, his presence as he's playing. I mean, that Georgia game, I went and rewatched it, and it was. I mean, dude, it was everything he needed to do. He did it. Solidify him as I think, as a 10-year starter. I
Mhm.
mean, and he's not the most fast guy, but he honestly, this is a weird comparison, but when I was watching him, he did remind me a little bit of Justin Herbert. I mean,
Well,
he's not going to take off and run all the time. He's more of a pocket passing quarterback, but he's got a good poise to him. Seems like a little bit more of a quiet leader,
mhm.
and I don't know. He's got the size, he's got the strength, he's got great ball placement. But yeah, he is my quarterback number one, believe it or not.
Okay. I like it. I mean, yeah, he showed in that Georgia game that he can run. He can escape anything he can.
Oh yeah, and I would love to see him like in our last mock. If you haven't listened to it, I had Bryce Young going number one. But man, I would love to see CJ Stroud and Frank Wright together. I think
Yeah.
that would be fun.
Yeah.
All
Okay.
right, so we're gonna get into running backs and
On to running back. Do
a
you want
little
to
bit faster through
start?
this one.
Yeah. Do you want to start off with the running backs or?
No, you go ahead. You go first.
All right. All right. So with my fifth running back, I actually have Dwayne McBride out of U what is it?
UCAFB or
Yeah,
whatever. It's a school with the dragon on it.
yeah.
I just got the dragon on the head.
No, yeah, no disrespect, but he is just a absolute beast. I don't even know how to spell his name to be honest, but he's an absolute beast. I love him a lot. The more I watch him, the more he rises up my board. I had to keep him in the top five. Um,
I
I don't
think
like A Chain that much, Devon A Chain out of Texas A&M, so I put McBride over
right.
him. McBride just seems like he's going to be a all-purpose back in the
I
NFL.
know he had like the most broken tackles too.
Yeah,
I think behind Bijan Robinson in this draft class, which is huge for the NFL. I mean, that's a good way to see if they're going to be actually successful at the next level. So I like that.
kind of backs up my comparison on him. I have Javonte Williams as a comparison, so yeah, he's like really good at like breaking tackles. Yeah, but with my fourth running back, I got Zach Charbonnet out of UCLA.
Like
He
it.
actually started out his career at Michigan. Didn't really play much there, so he went to UCLA, and he is just a beast. I mean, if you watch UCLA, he's getting a first down every run.
He's a big back
Tackle.
too. He's a strong dude.
He's
Yeah,
strong. He's like a Austin Eckler on steroids. I mean, he's just.
he can be a true bell cow. I think.
I think so too. I mean, yeah, I have him at four because I really like the guy I have at three, but I think all the top four could be starters immediately. Yeah, Charbonnet is ultra productive. He can kind of just do it all. He's like jack of all, master of none, jack of all trades, master of
Jack
none.
of all trades and a master of none.
But my number three running back is I'm surprised he wasn't my guy. I just love Dalton Kincaid so much, but I love Tajay Spears.
Dude, I was thinking about that too. This guy is fun to watch. He's
I fell
electric.
in love with him in the summer when I started watching people I knew was going to be in the bowl games and stuff, but he looked amazing against USC in the bowl game. Tulane was great. He's electric. He's so athletic, and yeah, he's so fun to watch. I would kill for the Broncos to get him.
Dude, he showed up everywhere he's gone. So I mean, he played lower level of competition, but he stood out. He goes to the Senior Bowl, against some of the best, well, obviously all the best seniors of the draft class. He stands out. He goes to the combine. He stands out. He's every check mark he's hit so far, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah, he's great. He's a great receiver. He runs great routes. Yeah, I love Tajay Spears. He'd
You
be
had
a
a
good
great comparison of them
back.
that I agreed with. Aaron Jones. Very
Oh,
Aaron Jones
I
like.
think Aaron Jones is a perfect pro comp for him too. I mean, and then how could you not love Aaron Jones in the whatever third round that Tiger Spears is going to go on? So I think he's
100.
going to be a big steal. I have him at 3. I really love the top 4 running backs though. 2, I got Jameer Gibbs from Bama. I don't really call him a running back. I just call him an offensive player, but he's a beast. He's so fun to watch. He's gonna be good no matter where he goes. He's a crazy receiver, best receiving running back. I mean, him and Bijan are neck and neck, which is crazy. But yeah, he's like an extended receiver. He's a instinctive runner. I love him. And
Oh,
then one we already talked about him earlier, but your boy Bijan Robinson, probably going to be a
be
Charger.
going on him. I could talk for him for 2 hours.
Yeah, I mean Bijan, you can talk about him for 5 hours or 5 seconds because he's just perfect. There's not much you can talk about
100%.
negatively. Um, but yeah, I love Bijan. I'm excited to see where he ends up. I'm very excited to see where he ends up.
Oh, 100%. All right, and with that, I'll get into my top five really quick. Um, so at number five, I did have Zach Charbonnet, um,
Okay.
running back from UCLA. I mean, he's big, he's strong, he's powerful. You already said it all about him. Um, at number four, I did have Devon Achane.
Oh,
I like him. I think he's explosive.
yeah,
He had a lot of explosive runs. He ran fast at the combine. Um, he kind of gave me, gosh, I had a comp in my head for him, but I mean, he's a pretty explosive runner, and that's kind of what I liked about him the most.
he is. He's fun to watch. He's fun to watch.
Yeah,
He reminds me of CJ Spiller actually coming out. I mean, he's a better athlete technically, but he plays like CJ Spiller or Isaiah Spiller, the Chargers running back. Sorry,
yeah. No, that's a great comp. That's a great comp, and hopefully Isaiah Spiller we actually get to see him this year.
from the same school.
And then the knocks on him, and I think he could also be a special teams threat too, Devon Achane. But he is small. He's small, but I mean he was blazing fast. He ran a 4.32 at the combine, so
Yeah,
that was pretty impressive. But I think he could the NFL is full of smaller running backs. He's going to be not your bell cow, but he's going to be your receiving back. You're kind of your third
yeah,
down back, and I like him. I like him there at number four.
he's
Um,
fun. He's fun.
Number three on my list is going to be Tajay Spears.
Okay,
So we're very similar. We
I
already
like.
talked about him. I mean, the dude is electric. I mean, everywhere he went, he showed out. Combine, pro day, um, Senior Bowl. He's fantastic. And number two, I'm excited to talk
Yeah,
about him. I've talked a lot about number one and number three, but Jameer Gibbs, you knew it. You know who he reminds me of? I watched him, and dude, he is just a clone of Alvin Kamara.
I know.
He is
I hate
Alvin
to say
Kamara.
it because it seems like it's just two corner at this point, but yeah, he's literally Alvin Kamara. It's
If
ridiculous.
you want the closest shade of Alvin Kamara, it's him. And dude, he's fast, a 4.36, and he kind of has that Alvin Kamara run. He doesn't look like he's moving very fast, but he's moving. But 4.36, great receiver. I mean, do it all. He's definitely my number two, and of course Bijan number one, cleanest prospect, best running back since Saquon Barkley, next LaDainian Tomlinson. You say it. He's got everything.
Yeah, yeah, and he's a Charger. So there you go.
If you don't know, I am a Chargers fan. And I'll be crossing my fingers come draft day that Bijan is a Charger.
And I'm a
That's not to
Broncos fan.
knock on Austin Eckler or anything, but this guy is just special.
And I'm a Broncos fan, so he'll probably be haunting my dreams for the next decade. So
Hopefully, we can
love
only
that.
hope.
But we'll go on to tight ends now. Um, let's see. My number 5 tight end is actually it's Luke Musgrave. I don't know how you like Luke Musgrave, but I think he's a little bit
I think he's a
overhyped
work
right
in
now.
progress.
Yeah, he's a work in progress for sure. He is athletic.
Very athletic.
But
He's a
like
vertical threat. He's gonna, he's gonna be a mismatch when he gets vertical. I mean, the dude's got speed. He's super tall. It's hard to cover him, but he isn't super refined, and he's not a great blocker.
yeah, that's the thing. So like he's athletic. It's just I don't know if he's even like a top 3 to 4 athlete at the tight end position this year. So I don't know where he really fits in. But I love all the tight ends in this draft. I will say I love Zach Kuntz out of Old Dominion. I wanted to put him at 5. Musgrave just kind of has better tools, and Kuntz has really good tools. So
Pinch you just
it
didn't
was
see
tough.
enough of. You just
to put
didn't
him
see enough
over.
of
I really like Tucker Craft too. I'll say that real quick. The tight end
him.
class
Your
is
number four?
no Tucker Craft is actually my number 6. So I just wanted to say his name. I love the tight end class in general, but my number 4 is Sam Laporta. I love watching him. He's so fun after the catch. He's probably better than Kincaid after the catch even. But I'm excited to see where Laporta ends up. I think any quarterback would love to have him just throw it short to him and let him go crazy after the catch. But at
You know
3,
how Iowa, dude, they don't have a great offense, but they keep producing great tight ends. So it doesn't
yeah,
make
and this one's
sense.
like a different than usual because he's like an athletic freak. He's so
Mhm.
fun after the catch. Yeah, he's gonna be one of the better Iowa tight ends, I think. At 3, I have Darnell Washington. I feel like he's overhyped. I don't love him too much.
He's the sixth lineman, baby.
Yeah,
Dude,
everyone calls him
he's
the
a
sixth
freak.
lineman. I feel like he's a decent blocker. He's a good highlight blocker.
He's a highlight blocker, yeah.
But like watching him run block on like just watching his tape and watching him run block, he's not too consistent. He kind of gets stood up a little bit and relies too much on his frame. He's just not the strongest with his hands, but I do have him over Laporta because he has higher upside because of his size and all that. But Laporta is
He
probably
tested
better right
like
now, and I think I might take Laporta if I'm like the Niners or something like that. But
yeah, Darnell Washington did test like better than anyone ever. I mean,
yeah,
at his size and everything. I mean, he truly is like a freak.
yeah, I had to respect him and put him at 3 because of his potential. He has crazy potential, but
Sure.
I do think he's a little underwhelming right now and will need work. But even watching him in the receiving game, it's kind of like clunky. But I have Michael Mayer at 2. I do like him a lot. I said yes, or in the last podcast, he reminds me a lot of Fryermuth. He kind of plays similarly. I don't think he's too special in anything, but I think he'll be effective. Um,
He's the jack of all trades and the master of none.
he
If you
is. He is.
really want
Yeah,
it.
it's kind of like
I
Fryermuth
think I
too.
have him as one of my safest players. I think anywhere he goes, he's just you know what you're getting out of him. He's very
Yeah,
safe. That's kind of the difference between him and Kincaid to me is he's got a lot of upside, but Mayer, you know what you're getting out of him. I think he's going to be a 10-year starter. Um, he can block, he can catch, very good contested catch, very good at contested catches. He's solid.
and I guess that'll lead me into Dalton Kincaid, who I haven't won. I think he's just too special, like to not take as the first tight end off the board. I think he's a willing blocker, and he has the frame to be a decent blocker. So I think in a good scheme, he could be a decent blocker because he has the willingness. He throws it himself at blocks. Obviously isn't really technically refined, but he is a
He
decent.
wants to block. He wants to block.
He
Yeah.
tries, and I think he could learn if he went to a system. I mean, you don't need him to block. He's such a good receiver. He's a mismatch. He's Zach Ertz immediately the first day he's in the NFL. Zach Ertz, Evan Ingram, which is ridiculous. Get him on your fantasy teams. I mean,
Dude's gonna
I
be a
sound like
stud.
a fanboy, but I love Dalton Kincaid so much. I mean, I haven't loved a prospect as much as I love Dalton Kincaid for a long time. I think he's going to be really good and productive. But
Well,
yeah, I'm
think
excited
there's
to
a
hear.
goes to the Chargers too.
Yeah, he could be a Charger.
Bijan or Kincaid, lock it in right
Uh,
now. What's the date today? April 7th. Lock it in.
yeah, 20 days till the draft.
Yes, sir. All right. And with my number 5, I do have Tucker Craft. Um, he kind of reminds me of Hunter Henry, definitely a poor man's Dallas Goddard. Um, I think he smaller school prospect. I think he's super underdeveloped, but I think he. I mean, this tight end class is so stacked. It's so fun to watch. But he definitely is one of my favorite guys. I think he's got a little refinement to do at the next level. Maybe put on a little weight, but
Hmm.
he is fun to watch. And I mean, I give him like a mixture of a Hunter Henry and Dallas Goddard vibe. And then my number
I
4,
like Tucker Craft a lot. I was sad to not have him in my top 5, but
he's gonna be a steal for somebody in
he's going
the.
to be like a starter day one. This tight
Yeah,
end class is so good.
I mean, he's going to be still. I mean, we think end of round 2, 3, maybe end of round 3 at the
Yeah, he'll
latest.
probably be 3 or 4 just because he's a small school guy, but
But he's fun to watch, man. He is a stud.
yeah.
And then number 4, I've got Luke Musgrave, 6'6", 250 pounds, 4.6 40. I mean, I feel like he was faster than that. I feel like he should have been more of like a 4.5 guy. You watch his tape and he's a burner. I mean, any team who loves to run their tight ends vertical, get them down the field. I mean, he's a mismatch. He's too tall for corners. He's too fast for linebackers and safeties. I mean, he's going to be a problem. I think he did have a little bit of a drop issue at Oregon State, but
You know,
um, I think he's going to be a fun project. I think he's going to be an absolute stud at the next level.
and yeah,
And then,
he has the tools to be a really good blocker too. People, I think he's overrated as a blocker as well, but I think he's the tools to be a really good one.
oh, for sure. Number three, I'm gonna have Darnell Washington too, the sixth lineman. Not too much to go on him. Dude's an absolute freak. You know, he wasn't even the best tight end at his school. Brock Bowers. I mean, he kind of was. You know, Brock Bowers was the guy that got all the catches. I mean, he was. I mean, Brock Bowers is probably going to be a solidified top 15 pick next
Top
year.
20
I
pick,
mean,
yeah.
dude is a stud. So it's kind of interesting to see what he could have done at Georgia had Brock
If
Bowers
Bowers
not
wasn't
been
there.
there. Yeah, but he's going to be a fun prospect. I'm excited to see him. And then you're going to hate me for this, but I have Kincaid at number two right now.
Wow.
I think he's the most upside player. He's one of my, I mean, he's probably top three favorite player in this draft class. But something about Michael Mayer, dude. You watched him at Notre Dame, dude did everything. I mean, I mean, blocking, catching, whatever you needed him to do. The dude was a stud. Um, Great at contested catches. I think he's going to be a really good red zone threat. And blocking for a tight end is so underrated. Being a Charger fan and watching them last year with their tight ends, I mean, that's partly why the reason the run game was so horrible is because we had their tight ends who couldn't block, and so I mean that's such a big need for your tight end to be able to hold his own, and I think Michael Mayer can kind of do it all.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, they're both so good. They're both some of the best tight ends we've seen in recent years.
I know, and it's I mean they're in the same draft class. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, but no, Michael Mayer was extremely productive this year. Yeah, I'm not gonna talk crap on Michael Mayer. I never have really. I've just liked Kincaid more. I like Mayer. He's a good player.
Yeah. All right, now we're gonna get into our alignment. We'll probably have to get through this one pretty quick. I think we're kind of running out of time.
We're
But
actually on receivers, so we might have to save
oh,
linemen for another episode.
oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, we're kind of running out of time,
Unless we
aren't we?
just like
So
go real quick through this lineman, but I'll go through the receivers real quick.
yeah, yeah.
So my fifth receiver is Josh Downs. I love Josh Downs. He can do everything. He's just super reliable. He comes down with crazy catches that you don't really expect him to. He's super good at contested catches.
Day
Way
one slot receiver starter. Plug him and play him. Dude's a stud.
Yeah, way better than you'd expect him to be at contested catches. He's just super impressive to me. He's been like a hyped up prospect for like 4 years now, so he's consistent. Yeah, and then at four, it hurts me because I love the top four. I don't hate any of the top four receivers. I have Zay Flowers at four, and it kind of hurts because I love Zay Flowers. I had him at two like a few weeks ago, but
All
I
right,
don't
now
know.
this
I just kind
receiver
of soured
class.
on Zay Flowers the last few weeks. I don't know. He's super good. I think he's gonna start wherever he goes. I think like the Seahawks come to mind if he was complimenting Lockett and DK. I think it'd be really good.
Well, he's a Tyler Lockett clone.
Yeah,
Dude,
he's gonna
he's
have a good
Tyler
role.
Lockett at the next level.
Yeah, he's gonna have a good role wherever he goes. I'm excited about him. I want him to go to the Patriots. I think that'd be fun. But my third receiver though is Quentin Johnston. I actually used to have him a little bit lower, but he's kind of been going up my board. He passed up Zay Flowers. I just think with his frame, 6'4", he plays like Debo. I don't know how he can't be like a intriguing prospect to some teams. I get some teams can be
The
turned
only
off.
knock on him, I feel like, is like he's such a big body and he's just not the most aggressive at the point of catch. He's such
Yeah,
an explosive guy. You're kind of like, what the heck? Why are you so big and fast? But he's not. I don't feel like he's the best contested catch guy, but he's fun to watch after the catch though.
yeah. There's something about him where it's kind of like why don't you play harder? Why don't you I don't know. There's something a little kind of weird about him.
I know, but he was the focal point of that TCU offense. I mean, without
Yeah,
him, I mean, you watch that Georgia game, and it's just a disaster class, except him. So
yeah. When he has the ball in his hands, I mean, it's beautiful to watch. It's scary kind of up until then because kind of has drop issues. He's not the best route runner, but yeah, I like him a lot. I'm gonna put him over Zay Flowers for I think he has higher upside and he's just a bigger player. I think he'd fit more schemes. But my second receiver is gonna be Jordan Addison. I like Jordan Addison a lot. He's been really good. I mean, 2 years ago, he's the best receiver in the country with Kenny Pickett throwing to him. I mean, he can do it all.
Pretty impressive. He
Yeah,
had
play in the
1,600
slot.
yards. I mean, dude had a million touchdowns. I mean, I feel like he went to a better offense, but he shot himself in the foot almost
Yeah,
because he couldn't be the focal point of that offense because all they did was spread the ball around so much.
yeah. There's a lot of good
Still
receivers.
produced very well and missed some games, and he was still a very high productive wide receiver.
No, yeah. Watching him at USC, he's still good on tape. He's still good on film, even if he wasn't as productive. But I like Jordan Addison a lot. He's just a really good receiver. He seems like he's going to be productive wherever he goes. And then at one, Jackson Smith and Jigba, I love him. I feel like it sucks because he barely played last year. I hate it, but he's just so good. I think he's just going to be so good in any situation. I think he can play on the outside. He's not Justin Jefferson, but I think he can. I think he can play anywhere. I think he's going to be good.
For that, Danny being a Utah fan knows Jackson Smith and Jigba all too well from that Rose Bowl.
Yeah,
You watch him in that game, and everyone's like, "Oh, this dude's a solidified top 10 pick next year." It's too bad he had his injury that kept him out all last year. But I mean, he was absolutely phenomenal when he was on the field.
Yeah. All right, let's hear your receivers though.
All right, so this is gonna be kind of a dude's just been rising up my boards since day one. But my number 5 is gonna be Marvin Mims.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, if Caleb Williams would have stayed at Oklahoma, I think Marvin Mims would have been maybe even a top 3 prospect.
Wow.
He's 5'11", 180. He ran a 4.38. The dude's a burner. He has returning capability, so I mean, he can return the ball, he can do kickoffs. But for being a smaller guy, he was very aggressive at the point of attack with the ball. I mean, the dude went up and he would pluck the ball out of the air. I mean, he was fun to watch. He's got the over-the-top speed. I think he's being drastically slept on.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. He can do it all. I feel like he doesn't really have too many knocks. So it's weird that he's so low. So I agree. I like him.
Yeah, he's weirdly low for who he is. I mean, he still I think had 1,000 yards this year with Lincoln Riley and Caleb Williams leaving Oklahoma. So I mean, that was pretty impressive to me. And then at number 4, I'm gonna have my guy. Let's see, Zay Flowers. So I had him at number 4 as well. And he's a pretty built dude for being 5'9". I mean, you saw that video. I think he plays a lot faster. I mean, he ran a 4.42, which is not slow. I think people were maybe expecting him to be in the 4.3s. But the dude was an explosive freak. You give him the ball, and he's one of the most lethal route runners. I mean, he's breaking people's ankles left and right, and he's just explosive. And then at number 3, I'm going to have Jordan Addison.
Okay.
And he actually was one of my favorite prospects coming into the whole draft. I think he did have a little bit of drop issues at USC. But I mean, the dude is such a refined route runner. You watch him, he kind of reminds me of Keenan Allen the way he runs his routes. He's smooth. He's running at one speed the entire time, making every single cut. And he just has a knack of getting open. And then at number
your last 2 real quick.
Yeah. Oh, wait, say that again?
Let's hear your last 2 real quick.
Oh, yeah, we're probably running out of time. Quentin Johnston is going to be my number 2. Irritates me with how not aggressive he is, but when ball's in his hands, he's a freak, and he's super tall and fast. And then JSN has to be number 1. I think he's the one receiver that's going to come into this draft class, and he's going to have 100 catches, and he's going to be ultra productive.
Yeah. All right, I love it. I love the rankings. We'll get to.
We're gonna have to wait on the big uglies, right?
We're gonna wait on the big uglies, the linemen next episode with the defense. So stay tuned for that. We'll cut short there, but we will finish with the linemen, interior and tackles with our next episode. We'll also be doing the same format of episode with defense. So definitely stay tuned for that. I'm excited to talk about the defenders. Anything else you want to talk about?
We got the big uglies still coming up. We'll do an episode of like Should we do the defensive lineman and then the offensive lineman, and then do like the skill position kind of defensive players, and then an episode?
I like
So,
that. Yeah, we'll talk more in depth
yeah,
about those.
yeah, we'll do that. But yeah, everyone, like, share, subscribe. We're on Twitter, Instagram, NFL Seekers. Also, find us on Apple, Spotify, anywhere. We're gonna be on everything.
YouTube. Yep, and our Instagram and Twitter is at NFL Seekers Podcast. But yeah, check us out. This is our second episode. Our first episode was a really good mock draft, so check it out. And next episode coming in a few days. So excited.
All right, guys. Thanks.
All right.
Thanks
Peace.
for watching. All right, later, Dan.